You ever see a relationship so perfect on the outside, it almost feels fake? Well, this one was, and the truth behind it is darker than most people could ever guess. Behind the gated walls of a luxury estate in an upscale neighborhood, a VIP couple was living the so-called American dream: fame, money, and influence. But what the cameras never captured was what happened behind closed doors. She was known for her grace and glamour, often spotted at charity galas and high-profile events. He, on the other hand, had a reputation that turned a lot of people off: controlling, cold, and quietly harboring beliefs that made even his friends uncomfortable. While he sat just one room away, convinced the world revolved around him, she was making moves no one saw coming. But here's where it gets truly twisted. How far would someone go to hide betrayal when the spotlight's always watching? And what happens when the mask finally slips? If you click this video because the title pulled you in, trust me, you're in the right place. What you're about to uncover isn't just scandalous, it's a full-blown psychological roller coaster. And if you've ever wondered how lies, secrets, and unchecked privilege can boil under the surface of a seemingly perfect life, then stay with me. This story is more than gossip. It's about how deception grows in silence, how power warps reality, and how one woman found a way to cheat not just her husband, but an entire image built on lies. We're diving into the layers, what led to it, who knew what, and how the final reveal didn't just shake the household, it shook the whole community. So lean in, because you're going to get every piece of the truth you came here looking for. No half details, no fluff. And while you might think you've seen stories like this before, this one has a turn that'll flip everything you thought you knew about loyalty, identity, and revenge. As we peel back the layers, you'll start to see how this story isn't just about them. It's about the masks we all wear. Stay with me till the end, because what's coming in the final act, it's the kind of ending that nobody saw coming. Behind the shiny surface of this high-profile couple's life was a world that few could ever imagine. On the outside, she carried herself with an effortless elegance, always impeccably dressed, the perfect socialite in every way. Her smile lit up rooms, and she had the kind of charm that made people want to be around her. But beneath that polished image was a restless spirit, someone trapped by circumstance and expectations she never signed up for. Her husband, a man whose name commanded respect in certain circles, had built a fortress of control around their lives. Yet the whispers about his behavior and views had started leaking into conversations in places far from their gilded home. People spoke cautiously about his sharp tongue and the chilling undercurrents of racism that no one dared confront openly. Those close to him knew that behind the veneer of success was a man clinging to outdated beliefs, unwilling to change, even as the world around him moved forward. The tension in their marriage wasn't something that happened overnight. It had been simmering, crackling beneath the surface for years, igniting arguments that never quite got resolved, and silences so heavy they felt suffocating. But what no one expected was the way she chose to fight back, not with words or drama, but with a boldness that shocked everyone who thought they knew her. This wasn't just about infidelity. It was a calculated defiance, a way to reclaim power in a relationship where she often felt powerless. The man next door, the racist husband, was completely oblivious, wrapped up in his own ego and prejudices, convinced that his position in the world was untouchable. He had no idea that while he spent his days maintaining appearances and pushing his narrow worldview, she was weaving a secret life just a few feet away. But what made this story even more gripping was the complex web of people connected to them. Friends, neighbors, colleagues, all played roles that added layers of intrigue. Some were allies, quietly rooting for her behind closed doors. Others were silent observers, caught between loyalty and discomfort, unsure where they stood. Then there were those who thrived on chaos, whispering rumors and stoking the fire just enough to keep everyone guessing, but never stepping in to stop. As you follow this story, you'll hear perspectives from different angles. The jealous friend who watched the cracks form, the loyal employee who overheard conversations that hinted at secrets, the community leader struggling to keep peace. Amid rising tensions, every viewpoint adds depth, making you question who's telling the truth and who's hiding something bigger. One subplot that starts quietly but grows intense is the mysterious figure who appears intermittently, a person connected to her past, whose return threatens to unravel everything she's built. Their history is tangled with pain and betrayal, and their presence raises the stakes far beyond just a cheating scandal. It brings up questions about identity, trust, and the lengths people will go to protect themselves. Meanwhile, her husband's own world is crumbling in ways no one could see. Behind closed doors, he battles his own demons, insecurities masked by arrogance, fears fueled by his unwillingness to accept change. His racist attitudes aren't just a personal failing, they're a source of conflict that pushes away potential allies and isolates him. Yet he clings to his beliefs with desperation, unable to imagine a life where those around him reject the narrow path he insists on walking. The story also touches on the community around them, a neighborhood caught between admiration and judgment. Social media buzzes with speculation as the scandal slowly leaks out, but no one has the full picture. Rumors swirl, people pick sides, and the once close-knit area feels the strain of divided loyalties. You'll see moments of raw emotion, anger, sadness, hope, and regret, all tangled up in this unfolding drama. The tension builds as the characters navigate their choices, unsure who will break first, who will fight hardest, and what the fallout will look like. This is a story about secrets that don't stay buried, about the messy reality behind perfect facades, and about how power and privilege can corrupt even the most glamorous lives. But it's also about resilience, about finding strength in unexpected places, and about the truth that eventually comes out no matter how hard you try to hide it. There are nights filled with whispered phone calls, stolen glances, and plans made in the shadows. Days marked by uncomfortable family dinners, strained conversations, and public smiles that hide private pain. The balance between what is seen and what is real shifts constantly, keeping everyone on edge. As the layers peel back, you'll begin to see that no one in this story is entirely innocent or guilty. They're all flawed, trying to survive in a situation that's spiraling out of control. And just when you think you have it figured out, a new twist arrives, a revelation that challenges everything you thought you knew and forces the characters to face their deepest fears. So stay tuned, because this story doesn't just unfold, it pulls you in, asking you to look closer, to question appearances, and to consider what you would do if faced with a truth too hard to bear. What happens next will change the game completely, but for now, the shadows are still closing in, and the real secrets are only beginning to emerge. Just when it seemed like the quiet storm inside their home might finally break loose, the tension took on a whole new dimension. The woman's secret, once confined to hushed whispers and stolen moments, began to unravel in ways none of them could have foreseen. It started with a simple text message sent from an unknown number late one night, breaking the fragile calm she had managed to maintain. The message wasn't threatening, but the tone was chilling, an unmistakable reminder that someone from her past was watching, waiting, and ready to pull her deeper into a game she never wanted to play. This wasn't just about infidelity anymore. It was about control, leverage, and the dangerous dance of power between people who knew too much and those desperate to keep their secrets hidden. The man next door, whose world revolved around his own prejudices and sense of superiority, remained oblivious, still convinced that his dominance was unchallenged. But the cracks in his carefully constructed facade were growing wider, and soon, even his closest allies began to notice. Behind closed doors, arguments became explosive, filled with accusations that cut deeper than anyone expected. He raged about betrayal, not realizing the irony of his own failings that had driven her to seek solace elsewhere. The community around them was changing too, with gossip spreading like wildfire on social media platforms, hashtags trending, and countless viewers dissecting every known detail. People wanted to know the truth about this VIP wife who cheats boldly, and the more they dug, the more tangled the story became. Friends who once stood silently by found their loyalties tested, unsure whether to defend the family image or to speak out against the ugliness lurking beneath. Meanwhile, a subplot thickened the air. A close friend of the woman, someone who had been her confidant through years of struggle, revealed that she too was hiding a secret that could shatter everything. Her story intertwined with the main narrative, creating a web of connections none could escape. This friend had witnessed things that no outsider would believe, and her knowledge became a wild card in the escalating drama. She wrestled with whether to come clean or protect the fragile alliance they shared. On another front, the mysterious figure who had returned from the woman's past began making moves that sent shockwaves through the neighborhood. Their presence was no coincidence. They were a catalyst set to expose long-buried truths and force everyone involved to face uncomfortable realities. Their motivations remained unclear. Were they seeking revenge, redemption, or something else entirely? The tension between this figure and the woman grew with every encounter, blending past grievances with present danger. Their history was a volatile mix of love and betrayal, creating a charged atmosphere that made every scene crackle with unpredictability. At the same time, the husband's inner world was collapsing under the weight of his own contradictions. His racist attitudes, once hidden behind polite smiles and corporate speeches, leaked out in moments of vulnerability, alienating even his most loyal supporters. Business associates who once praised his leadership started distancing themselves, wary of being associated with someone whose views were so out of step with modern values. The man's frustration morphed into paranoia, fueling suspicions that everyone was against him. He began spying on his wife's movements, installing cameras and monitoring her communications, all while his public image took a beating. His behavior became erratic, adding a volatile edge to the already unstable marriage. But then came the unexpected twist, one that no one saw coming, and that would shift the entire narrative in an instant. It wasn't the woman's affair that became the biggest secret to surface, nor was it the friend's hidden past, or the shadowy figure's motives. Instead, it was a revelation about the husband himself, something so profound and unsettling that it reframed the entire story. It turned out that beneath his harsh exterior and racist rhetoric was a deep and painful history of rejection, fear, and identity crisis that no one knew about. A secret he had buried so deeply he nearly forgot himself. This revelation didn't excuse his behavior, but added layers of complexity to a man who was more than just a villain in this tale. It raised questions about the cycles of hurt that shape people and the masks they wear to survive. As the community grappled with this new information, the stakes rose higher than ever. Relationships that once seemed stable began to fracture irreparably. The woman, caught between loyalty to her past and desire for freedom, faced impossible choices. Her friend struggled with guilt and fear of exposure. The mysterious figure pressed forward, determined to unearth every truth, and the husband, now more isolated and desperate than ever, teetered on the edge of losing everything he had fought so hard to control. Social media exploded with debates, reactions, and theories, drawing in viewers from all over who were captivated by the unfolding drama. Keywords like VIP cheating scandal, racist husband exposed, secret past revealed, and shocking twist in celebrity marriage flooded search engines as people clamored to understand what really happened. Behind the scenes, the story became not just a local scandal, but a nationwide fascination, a reflection of deeper social issues like race, power, and betrayal. Yet despite the chaos, one thing remained clear. The truth was still out there, tangled in layers of lies, denial, and fear. And as the story edged closer to its climax, every character faced a reckoning that would challenge everything they believed about themselves and each other. The tension didn't ease, it intensified, pulling everyone into a dramatic finale none could predict. But that moment is still to come, and for now the shadows hold their secrets tight. Stay close, because what you're about to see next will shatter illusions and force the question: when the truth hits hard, who will stand? And who will fall? As everything spiraled out of control, The woman found herself at a crossroads where the lines between right and wrong blurred beyond recognition. The secret she had guarded so carefully was no longer hers alone. It had become a public spectacle, dissected and debated by strangers who had never walked in her shoes, but felt entitled to pass judgment. The pressure was suffocating, yet somewhere deep inside, a spark of determination ignited. This wasn't just about defending her choices anymore. It was about reclaiming her identity, her voice, and her dignity in a world that seemed hell-bent on tearing her down. Meanwhile, the husband's facade finally crumbled in the most unexpected way. The revelation about his past, the wounds he had masked with bitterness and racism, was laid bare during a heated confrontation, caught on camera, and leaked online by someone close who had grown tired of his cruelty. The footage showed a man grappling with pain, regret, and fear, starkly humanizing him, while also exposing the toxicity that had poisoned their marriage. The community was stunned, torn between outrage and sympathy. This complex portrait challenged everyone watching to rethink their assumptions about hate, forgiveness, and the scars people carry. In the midst of this chaos, the woman's closest friend stepped forward with a confession that shifted the narrative again. She admitted that she had been covering for the woman's lover, a person with their own troubled past and motives that were far from pure. This revelation added layers of moral ambiguity to the story, forcing viewers to question who was truly the victim and who was the perpetrator. It became clear that love, betrayal, and loyalty were tangled in ways no one had expected. The friend's courage in coming clean sparked a ripple effect. Others who had stayed silent out of fear or shame began to share their truths, exposing a network of hidden stories that painted a larger picture of struggle and resilience. The mysterious figure from the past revealed their true intention, not revenge, but an urgent need to protect the woman from a threat nobody had anticipated. Their involvement was not an act of malice, but a desperate attempt to stop a dangerous force lurking in the background, a manipulative third party who had been exploiting all of them for financial gain and personal vendetta. This discovery propelled the story into a high-stakes game of trust and survival, where alliances shifted rapidly, and every decision carried weighty consequences. The woman, the husband, the friend, and even the mysterious figure found themselves reluctantly united against a common enemy who had been pulling strings from the shadows. As the climax approached, the tension exploded in a confrontation that brought every secret, every lie, and every truth into the open. The community gathered, both online and offline, as the drama unfolded live, a moment of reckoning where masks fell away and real faces appeared. The woman faced her husband and the people he had influenced, not with anger or resentment, but with a strength born of surviving a storm much fiercer than anyone could see. The husband, humbled and broken, had to confront his own demons and decide whether to change or remain a prisoner of his past. The friend's loyalty was tested to its limits, forcing her to choose between silence and solidarity. The mysterious figure revealed evidence that shattered the last illusions and exposed the real puppeteer behind the chaos. In the aftermath, as the dust settled, the characters were forever changed. The woman emerged not as a victim or a villain, but as a symbol of resilience, showing that even when truth hits hard, it can lead to healing and growth. The husband began a painful but necessary journey toward self-awareness and redemption, understanding that hate only breeds more pain. The friend found peace in honesty and forgiveness, and the mysterious figure disappeared back into the shadows, leaving behind a legacy of courage and sacrifice. The community learned a powerful lesson about empathy, judgment, and the complexity of human relationships that transcended the headlines and social media noise. But just when it seemed the story had reached its natural end, one final twist stunned everyone. A hidden message uncovered in a seemingly insignificant detail revealed that the manipulative third party was not acting alone. There was a larger conspiracy at play, one that connected this personal saga to bigger social issues around power, control, and identity. This revelation left viewers questioning everything they thought they knew, and it opened the door for new conversations about justice, accountability, and the price of silence. The story's conclusion wasn't just an ending, it was an invitation. To look deeper, to question harder, and to stand stronger. This narrative journey was more than just a scandal or a betrayal. It was a reflection of the struggles so many face in their own lives. The fight to be seen, heard, and understood despite the chaos around them. It's a reminder that behind every headline, every viral story, there are real people with real pain, real courage, and the capacity for transformation. As you watch and reflect, remember that strength isn't about never falling. It's about rising every time you do, no matter how hard the truth hits. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of inner strength and resilience. Until next time, stay strong, stay brave, and never forget your worth.